Thank you for coming to this Schoolhouse by Northcott. My name is Patti Carey, and I'm Vice President of Public Relations. And I have a whole slew of the Northcott crew with me here today to help hold up our quilts. I hope you want to see some quilts because we brought a few dozen. So the first thing I want to talk about is Northcott's new ColorWorks program. How many of you run ColorWorks in your store right now? Good for you. ColorWorks is Northcott's solid cotton broadcloth. It is a premier quality product, and it's intended to compete head-to-head with the K word. I'm sure you know what that is. A couple of things I want to mention about it. I would like to introduce Deborah Edwards, our design director. Deborah, if you want to stand up. Deborah has been with Northcott for about 3-4 years now. And she has made some instrumental changes to a lot of our collections. And what she's done with ColorWorks is she's revamped it. And it's really critical. It's something that I think, as a quilter myself, I really appreciate this. And as a shop owner, I think you will really appreciate it too, and so will your customers. What we found with the ColorWorks program is that it was a mishmash of colors and just thrown together. And what Deborah has done, if you turn to page 1 and 2 in the guide, she has revamped the program to make it a cohesive program. One of the things that your customers come to you for is guidance in choosing fabrics. Is that not the hardest thing that they have when they're designing a quilt or making a quilt? And you know, as a quilter, it took me 10 years to realize it was not the color in a quilt that was doing the work. It's the value. And what Deborah has done with this program is she's built the value differences that are necessary for a successful quilt right into the ColorWorks program. She's also done that with the shimmer, Artisan Spirit shimmer, with the Toscana, which is our textured solid, and with the Sandscapes that I'll be showing you later. So when you have these collections in your store and your customers are going to the wall and choosing the fabrics, you can say, if you choose these blues here, you've got the range of values that you need right there for that successful quilt. So use the colors to your advantage and let your customers use them, and they will have successful quilts. So we have, with the new ColorWorks, we have a series of patterns that we have developed, or my pattern designers have developed, and so we're going to start showing the quilts now. The first one is Ripple Effect by Pine Tree Country Quilts. And you can see how the beautiful gradation of the values is working in this quilt, in the reds palette and also in the beiges palette. And the next one is Flight Path. This is a modern quilt, and it uses a whole variety of those browns and grays that are in there. Over in the other corner, we have 3D boxes. This is by Castilia Cotton. And again, can you see how the values in there? Diane has used lights, mediums, and darks in those squares, and those 3 values are working amazingly in that quilt. Another modern one that we have is D. D has the Hexagon Table Runner. This is by Babs and Jazz, a nice modern project with some hand big stitching on it, and those hexes, which are all important in modern quilts. Where have we got? Brian has electric rails. This is by Upper Canada Quilt Works. And you can see how all of those brights, very simple, sew those strips together, how they're all working beautifully. One of the new fabrics that we have in the ColorWorks is that, what's it called, Hanya? Ultra Black? Ultra Black. It's double dyed. And there's also a super white? Super white. Super white. Really, really crisp. All right, we've got, Shirley has You Grow Girl. This is by Karen Bialik of Fabric Addict. And it shows all those, the ranges of the brights that are in there, the pastels to the brights of the purples, blues, greens, etc. Most of these patterns come in multiple sizes, And the pattern designers, as you can see in the guide for many of them, they come in multiple color options, which is, we've listened to you. You wanted to have a pattern that's versatile in more than one color combination. Debbie has Fiesta. This is by Jean Lloyd. Comes in 2 sizes, 2 different color options. Quick and easy quilt, nice bright colors. And Paul has Follow the Arrow. This is by Quilts by Jen. And this is one of the 3 color options and 4 sizes that are in this pattern. We want these patterns to be worth the money that your customers pay for them. Great showing of the value in this quilt, how those colors are working together. The next one that Dee has is Ship Shape. This is by Kate Mitchell Quilts. And it is a nice little project here. I think it includes 2 sizes, so this is the little crib quilt, and it also comes in a larger twin quilt. Just a touch of applique for those customers that want to venture into that. The next one that we've got is Backsplash. This is by Barb Sacco for Quilt Woman. And again, see how those values of blue are playing together. Very effective in this quilt. The guys in the corner there have 9 patch bars. This is another one by Castilia Cotton, and she's using the whites along with the deeps and brights. Many of these quilts also use some pre-cuts. And then this one here, he's got it, thank you. Monkey bars. This is by Stone Cottage Crafts, and this is one of 3 color combinations in Glenda's pattern. Again, quite simple, quick and easy for that nursery quilt. And Picket Fence. This is also by Kate Mitchell Quilts. Nice twin size quilt, very effective use of the color. And you can see the gradation happening there and how those colors are all playing nicely together. And the final one is Chips and Churns by Daphne Gregg of Patchwork Studio. And there are 3 different color combinations in this one and 2 different sizes. This is the small crib size and using the pastel combination. And just really nice mixture of colors in this one. So that is the new ColorWorks. I want to mention that there are some special promotions going on with ColorWorks. So please talk to your sales rep. Come by the booth if you haven't made an appointment. If you have made an appointment, please mention to your sales rep you want to know about the specials with the new ColorWorks. Okay? Or you can go online. How many of you use Northcott's website to order fabric? Some, okay. And you can go online and you can and see them on there. So the next collection that I want to show you is Sandscapes. About this time last year, Deborah came out with Artisan Spirit. And this Artisan Spirit, the concept is that it's a sister brand to Stonehenge. And it's intended for art quilts, but can also be used in traditional quilts, as you can see from a lot of the quilts. And the first collection that we had was shimmer. How many of you carry shimmer in your stores? Excellent. Oh, wow. You are going to love Sandscapes. As I was working on a number of the quilts with my piecer Suzanne, and all of these quilts were coming in, we were amazed with just the range of fabrics in the collection. And when I looked at it, I was thinking how beautifully they will play with the shimmer fabrics as well. So with the Sandscapes, there are 12 palettes, each of them in a range of 5 values from light to dark. And when we are launching this collection, which we are doing right now, for shipping in January, there are pre-cuts that are going to be sold right alongside. So the pre-cuts are available starting in January as well. Those pre-cuts are strip packs, chips, which are the 5-inch squares, tiles, which are the 10-inch squares, and the fat quarter rolls. And all of that information is in your booklet. So you have a shade card there, honey? So that's the actual shade card that your sales reps will be using to show you the line. And even within each of the groupings, the 2 groupings are together on one page there, and you can see how well they play together. They're just beautiful. There is a hint of metallic on these, just like there is with the shimmer. It's not enough to make it difficult to quilt by any means. It just gives it that extra little touch. So, going through the pattern guide for this. The first quilt is Quiet Cove by Joni Newman of Quirks and Quilts. Jody did some 3 patterns for us for the shimmer and 2 patterns using the sandscapes. And her patterns are selling very, very well. And a really easy way for your customers to make an art type quilt that is not a difficult quilt to make at all. Her techniques are really quite simple. So just really cool. She loved working with this palette because it was perfect for her quilts. The next one we have is Eclipse, and this is by Daphne Gregg of Patchwork Studio. Comes in 2 different color combinations. And this is the blue combination, blue and the earth colorway, mocha colorway that's Daphne has used in this quilt. Carly one. Yeah. And just a hint of applique. Is this the give and take applique, Daphne? Where's Daphne? No. Okay, no, okay. The next one is Diamond Detour. This one is made with tiles. It's by Sassafras Lane, and there are 3 different combinations shown on this pattern. So this is the one with the light background, made with tiles. I think 2 different sets of tiles. And the next one is Shadow Play by Castilia Cotton. This is the smaller size. I really like the one with the larger size, but we couldn't fit all of the big ones in the booth. So some of the designers made up their smaller size versions for us to hang in the booth. And so please come by and see all of them. Get up close and personal with the quilts. And this is by Castilia Cotton. And her pattern will show 2 different color options. This one with the sun glow, and one also with the hibiscus and violet. And the next one is also by Castilia Cotton. This is Fire Within, and look at how these fabrics, the gradation is working in these fabrics. This quilt is a perfect example of that. And that's all Deborah's doing, how she's designed those lights, mediums, and darks all within each palette so that you get that effect happening. And that's really what makes the quilt successful. The next one that Brian and Shirley have is Apple Martini. And this is not the Apple Martini colorway. This is the, I don't know, peach schnapps colorway. Mango Martini. And this is made with tiles as well. How effective a quilt made with tiles. And one of the mineral colors as the background. Great quilting with this one. The next one that Daphne had, there we go. That Debbie has is Stargazer. This is the bedrunner size by Daphne, Patchwork Studio, and using the Sun Glow colorway. And you can see the lovely shades in the background of that, the earth tones that are just blending beautifully to create the shading. Daphne said the shading was critical with this quilt, and she was really happy with how it turned out. The next one is Gradating Stars. Yep, there we go. This one is by Karen Gallick of The Fabric Addict. And it's a chips pattern. Comes in 3 color combinations shown on the pattern, and 2 different size options as well. How fun to use the chips for that. And the next one that Shirley and Brian have is Coral Beach. This is by Upper Canada QuiltWorks, and it's a strip pattern in the Atmosphere and Lagoon colorway, with a hint of the coral in there. The next one is Flow. This is by Barb Sackle from Quilt Woman. And there are 3 sizes included in this pattern. Beautiful shading. The next one is Crystal Streams that Debbie and Tessine have. And this is by Kate Mitchell Quilts. It is also a strip pattern. And this one, the pattern will show 2 different color options. The other one is the Mineral Mocha combination. The next one is Bon Echo Rock. Nope.
Sorry.
This is another one by Joni Newman of Quirks and Quilts. And Bon Echo is in the cottage country area that's just west of Ottawa, Canada. And this looks just like Bon Echo. My uncle had a cottage there, so I really want to make this quilt. And it'll be very easy to make. No problem with that. The next one that Dee has is Floral Ladder. This is by Susan Jensen of Quilted Escapes. Quick and easy pattern, hint of applique as Susan likes to put into her projects. And 2 different color options shown on this pattern. This one is more multicolored, whereas the Sunglow Coral one is a little bit more toned. And then the next one is Sand Dunes. This is by Elisa Wilson. So this is a classic example of how well the shading in the Sandscapes works. I just love how this one turned out. Elisa has 3 different color options that she's going to be showing on her pattern guide. The next one is Gentle Breeze, and this is a fat border quilt. This is by Christine Stainbrook of Project House 360. And there are 2 different color options and 3 sizes in Christine's pattern. So a very versatile pattern indeed. Are you finding that the pre-cuts are selling really well? In your stores? The next one is Happiness Is. This is more of an art quilt by Joni Newman, Quirks and Quilts. And just a great project to showcase the Sunglow color combination. For those of us who would like to be artists and want to make something artistic, Joni's figured it out for us. The next one is Marrakesh that Dee has. This is by Glenda Spencer of Stone Cottage Crafts. And Glenda is going to have 2 different sizes and 3 different color options on her pattern. This is also a fat border pattern. Nice big pieces. Then we have Back to Square One, which is Pulse. This is by Jean Boyd. Again, see how those colors are playing there in the mocha, latte? Yeah. I'm just checking up on the Earth Latte combination. And Jean's pattern will include 2 different size options. It's a fat border pattern. How easy is that? The next one is Charming Stars. This one will include 4 sizes And it's made with chips. Perfect use for chips. That's my pattern. This one uses 2 sets of the earth mineral, or the mocha mineral. But the other one that I wanted to do was 2 different packs, and it would have a little bit more variety in it, but just a fun quilt to do. The next one, I love this one, Finding Balance. This is by James Bowler of Quilt Poetry. Just a beautiful quilt. And Jane did an exceptional job on it. She loved working with this collection. And the next one is Shaded Trails. And this is by Sue Harvey and Sandy Bubar of Pine Tree Country Quilts. This pattern includes 2 color options and 2 different sizes. Again, this one uses the mocha color combination, and you can see again the shading that's happening with this. It's just outstanding. And the final pattern that I want to mention is the Jaywalker jacket, and that's what I'm wearing, courtesy of Morning Glory Designs. This is a brand new jacket that they've come out with. It's kind of a jean style jacket, and it just works perfectly for this. There's no batting in it, it's just the jacket. I love their jackets, they fit really well. If you've, does anybody carry their patterns in your store? They fit beautifully. As far as jackets, and, you know, not looking too quilty, I feel like I could actually wear this out somewhere and get away with it. Look normal, sort of, no. Brian would say, I'm not normal, there's no way I can look normal. All right, so the next thing I want to show you is Medici. Medici, the sales reps, we're selling Medici with our August release, and we actually have the quilts made up for this market hanging in the booth. And Medici is one of the collections that we have included embroidery with. How many of you are selling embroidery in your shops? The embroidery that we have to coordinate with the Medici is by Zund Design, and it is creme de la creme. The first quilt that we have here is by Rita's Best Designs, Rita Gazard. And Rita, when she was stitching this out, she said, watching the embroidery stitch out was like poetry in motion. Rita does a lot of embroidery, and she was so impressed with the embroidery on it. Medici is a Stonehenge collection and has a hint of metallic on it again. So some of the quilts have the metallic thread on them. This is the other embroidery one. This design is by Tracy Sims, and in the indigo colorway. And you can see how the embroidery is just showcased beautifully in Tracy's quilt.
Again, where does the embroidery, is it in a disc or?
The embroidery is on a disc, so it's formatable for any machine. And the discs are available through Northcott or from, I think, Zund Design as well, which is right across the aisle from Northcott. Our booth number is 1206. The guys in the corner there have the blue colorway. I'm trying to remember the names of these. Oh, it's really hard to remember the names of 47 quilts. This is by Wanda's Designs. Palazzo. And this is a great one that showcases that medallion panel that you see in the center there. And great big pieces in this quilt. So it's a nice quick quilt. But, and again, with these collections, similar to the collection that Deborah did about a year ago called Aphrodite, the shading in these collections, it's the value that's really doing the work, and it's making the quilt work. And I love how Wanda's pattern has turned out. So this next one that Ryan and Shirley have is Florentine Floor. this is my pattern, and I want to mention something about this quilt. Let's see if I can travel with this, because I go and I teach. I teach, but I lecture at shops and guilds around the country, and I'd be happy to come to your shop, do a road trip through your area if you want me to come and talk to you. I do a trunk show where I talk about panels, and yeah, it's called Interesting Quilts from Unusual Fabrics, and I do a lot with panels and border stripes and showing consumers how they can use these. So the quilt that I did way back when using the Apollo collection, every time I show that quilt, people want to buy that panel right now. This quilt has 3 panels in it. Now, I took a piece of fabric that was 3 panels that were attached. The panel's 24 inches, so it's a 2-yard chunk of fabric. The first thing I did is I cut the 2 strips off of the 2 borders that were the stripe part. Then the 1 panel, the big square, went into the center of this quilt. The second panel, I cut into quarter square triangles, and they became the corners of the quilt. Can you see that? The third panel, I also cut in quarter square triangles, and then I trimmed part of the corner off, and they became these sections right here. The border stripe that I cut off, the 2 borders, part of it went here, and the other part went here. This quilt has great big chunks of fabric. Can you see that? And what I am including in this pattern, there's a mitered border, a mitered border, and a mitered border. This outer border is actually the coordinating border stripe that came with the panel, but there's a really, really easy, foolproof way to do these mitered borders, and I include that in the pattern for this. And I teach it as a workshop, and I feel it's really important for quilters to know how to handle mitered borders without fear. And once they do this, that they can do that, and it's a really essential tool, technique tool for them to have in their toolbox of quilting techniques. So when you sell your panels, or when you're buying panels, think about how you can, and your customers can use more than 1 panel in a quilt, because I make quilts. I've had some quilts where there's 7 panels in the quilt. And I know that some of your customers, they think the panel is expensive, but it's really not that expensive, because there's really not that much fabric in this quilt, because there's very little piecing. So they're either spending the money on the yardage or the panel, but it's all the same fabric that they're buying. So, all right, so the next one that we've got here, Medici Mosaic. This is by Paula Tubes, Bayou Patch, and she's used the panel right in the center of the quilt there. Is Paula here? Yay, Paula. So a nice, quick, and easy project. And Elegante, this is by Karen Gallick of the Fabric Attic. And Karen's used the border stripe to great effect in the outer borders of the quilt here. And also really cool piecing for the medallion in the center. All right, and the last collection that I want to show you is the next version of Stonehenge Stars and Stripes, and this is called Land of the Free. The main focus fabric in the collection is the new panel, and I think you're going to love this. I love it, and I'm not even American. That's the Land of the Free, Home of the Brave panel. And the pattern designers have done an amazing job with the panel and the other coordinates in the collection. This is one of the 2 free downloads on Northcott's website. This quilt is a Quilts of Valor size quilt. Money goes to Quilts of Valor from the sale of these, and this is a size that fits in. This is the other free download. This is Stars of Valor. This uses the strip pack. So again, a Quilts of Valor size project, and you can download these. Your customers can download these right from Northcott's website. Freedom Isn't Free is by Rita Gazard of Rita's Best Designs. Is that not a spectacular quilt? Just love how those fabrics are looking there. That panel is showcased beautifully. And then 2 quilts that are in the same pattern. This is by Christine Stainbrook. One is in honor, and the other one is in the suitcase. So this pattern by Christine includes both of these projects. Both of these projects are, again, Quilts of Valor size, and this smaller one that Anya's hanging up is intended as a lap quilt, maybe a wheelchair quilt. So again, thank you for coming. 1206 is our booth number. Please come by and ask our reps about our specials.